Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Uncle Slam, and this is my post commentary for the Super Mario Maker 2 Story Mode Any Percent World Record as of March 30th, 2022. So, for those of you who aren't really familiar with Super Mario Maker 2 speedrunning, at least for the story mode, yes, Mario Maker 2 does have its own story mode, which is kind of new to the series. Even though Super Mario Maker for 3DS kind of had its own story mode, this story mode is a bit more fleshed out. It's not just a series of level after level ad nauseum. So the goal of the story mode in Mario Maker 2 is to finish building Princess Peach's castle. Specifically, we want to finish building the stained glass, which is the very last part of the castle. And each part of the castle costs a certain amount of coins, and there are a bunch of different parts. So there are the doors, the roofs, all the different floors. And as for how much they cost, for example, the foundation will cost 100 coins. 100 coins, sorry. Doors will cost 500 coins. It all depends on exactly which part of the castle we're building. Now, since there are so many parts of the castle we need to build, we need a large amount of coins in order to finish the castle. But that doesn't mean that it'll be a huge slog to coin grind. So every coin we attempt to grab in this run is very deliberate, and we route out our movement specifically around getting as many coins we can as quickly as reasonably possible. How we finish levels is also very important in regards to coin collection. So whenever we come across a flagpole, the higher up Mario grabs the pole, the more coins you get. So the majority of the time we'll try to hit the very top of the flagpole, like we will at the end of this level here. The same principle applies whenever we get to the finish line in the Super Mario World style levels as well. The only difference there is that Mario needs to hit the tape, otherwise you get no coins, which is not exactly ideal, to say the least, from the speedrun perspective. The really tricky one we have to worry about is the Super Mario Bros. 3 style, which alternates between 4 different symbols, and you need to time how you hit the ending so you maximize your coins. You can get 1, 3, 5, or 10 coins from those ending, depending on which symbol Mario touches. And each symbol only appears for 8 frames, which is a little more than 1/10 of a second for a 60 FPS game. So timing it isn't that bad, but if you're too late when you try to hit the 10 coins, you'll only get 1, whereas if you hit it too early, you'll still get 5. So if anything, it generally doesn't hurt to jump a little earlier for safety. So there are only a few levels where that actually applies. We'll see them a little later. So here we have Hello 3D World, which is the first Super Mario 3D World style level in the run. We'll see a few different features exclusive to the 3D World style here, such as lawn jumps, the cat suit, climbing trees, and the environment, stuff like that. So here you want to make sure you grab that mushroom so that when you hit this question mark block up here, or I'm sorry, you climb this tree here, you get the cat suit. Otherwise, that'll just be another mushroom. But with the cat suit, we can climb the environment like we did there to grab that 10 coin, dive to kill that piranha plant a little bit quicker than if we just ground pounded it. And then it also makes grabbing that 30 coin a lot easier, because you can just dive into it and then immediately wall jump. And you can also climb to the top of flagpoles with the cat suit, which makes it really easy to get a lot of coins from the ending. So as long as you hit the flagpole somewhere besides like the very bottom, you're almost guaranteed to get the very top if you have a cat suit. But obviously, since it's a 3D World exclusive item, we can't do it that frequently. And even then, it's only in a fraction of all the 3D World style levels in the run. So there's that as well. Once we start building the castle too, we actually get to choose to play any of the levels we have unlocked in any order we want. So this is really important because a lot of these levels just take too long or don't yield enough coins to warrant playing them in the speedrun. And since each part of the castle unlocks a specific set of levels once we start building it, the order in which we build the castle and play levels is also routed out very specifically. So sometimes we can shift levels around a little bit, but for the most part you'll see the same levels played in the same order at the top level. So for example, after we started building the foundation, just the process of starting to build the foundation unlocked levels 2, 3, and 4, whereas before we literally only had level 1 to work with. And 3 levels more isn't exactly that much variety, but as we'll see after we beat this level, we'll have a lot more opportunities to build parts of the castle from there. So like after this, we'll have the ground floor for the main hall, the west hall, and the east hall, and each of those have their own levels they unlock. And technically speaking, I don't think it matters drastically whether we start with the west or east hall. But just because the cursor starts on the west hall, once we go into the menu after talking to Toadette, that's just the one we built first. In addition to that, the levels we unlock with the West Hall are a little more reset heavy, so it's better to just get those out of the way early. Yeah, so right here you'll also notice that every time we beat a level after starting to build a part, a little hammer icon will show up. That whole animation, if we build multiple parts of Castle at once, all those hammers will show up at once, so you don't have to watch, every single one have its own animation. So when we are building the castle, we will try to overlap those as well. So there's a whole process just in terms of how to build the castle as well. So coming into this next level, level 5, this is where the speedrun really starts, in my opinion. So this is normally a puzzle level. And, puzzle levels, they can tend to take a while, but in this one, because we know exactly what to do, it's pretty easy to just get through it as is. We also make use of Yoshi here, and this is one of 2 levels we see him in the speedrun. So right off the bat, we can use them to damage abuse right through that wall of Goombas, or Goombuds, sorry. And we're going to try to keep Yoshi through most of the level, like basically until the very end. You'll also see me doing some ton boost in here. Small little mechanic that can save you just a little bit of time here and there, but it does add up. So in this room, the whole point is to get through after hitting 2 P-switches, but if we take this one and push it a little further in the level, we can use only that one. Also, shout out to Zimbo for that 30 coin strat. He found that day 1 of running this game. A little bit of cheese you can do to save, have to actually go in the room that it's in. Yeah, so right there, I got through those coins just before they turned back into normal spin blocks. You can do that without Yoshi, but having Yoshi does help. You absolutely do need him for the P-switch movement. But after that, it is entirely possible to just get to the end after hitting the P-switch from where you leave it. But at the end there, yeah, you can see we kind of dove off and got some more coins with him. So it is worth taking him to the very end just for a little bit of extra coinage. The next level, level 6, is a very, very heavy reset point in the run because there's a lot going on here. This is an RNG-based level. It's not super pronounced, but the whole point here is to grab 30 different coins throughout all 4 of these rooms here. And all of them are kind of formatted the same. The main thing we want to worry about is just making sure we collect all the coins in the levels, or in the rooms, before we leave, because we don't want to have to backtrack. In that first room, I do grab a Koopa shell, and that's intentional because if you throw a Koopa shell, then it will collect any coins along the way. And we can do that to save a lot of movement throughout these rooms. This room up top has Pom Pom, and she is very heavily RNG, so like where she teleports here, we have no way of really predicting. Normally, I did jump over the Koopa shell there. You're meant to take it into this last room with the Goombas, or I'm sorry, the Antoids, or what are they called? Ant Troopers. And I did jump over there. Slight time loss, but it's only like 2 seconds at most, so not a big deal. Like, as long as you finish with a time of 260 or better, you're pretty well off. But that level could definitely fluctuate quite a bit. But yeah, that also is a good way to lead into clear conditions. So Mario Maker 2 has a bunch of different clear conditions that you can put in levels you make, but they're also in a lot of the story mode levels. So that one in particular had, hey, you have to collect this amount of coins. Others, you're not allowed to jump. Some you have to completely avoid getting grabbed by claws, or avoid doing a specific action. So we'll see quite a few of those throughout the run. They're definitely a good way of keeping the speedrun fresh. This level right here isn't anything too special, just more use of the catsuit. One nice application that we only see in this level is that you can actually turn bonsai bills around. I think you can do the same with bullet bills. I'm not entirely sure, though. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, this is the only level in the 80% speedrun where we even can do that, I'm pretty sure. So just a neat little feature that we can use to get a 10 coin there. Coming into this next level, level 11. So this one is really cool because it has a couple of minor skips in it. Funny enough, the first two skips we'll see are in order: Seesaw Skip 2 and Seesaw Skip 1. And if you're wondering why we do Skip 2 before Skip 1, it's because Seesaw Skip 1 was found first. So yeah, as we get into it here, there's a kind of precise triple jump we're going to try to get after we pass a Koopa coming up here. So here's the Koopa. So that's the start of the triple jump. You want to spin to kind of buffer it out a little bit. And you can do that to skip having to go on the seesaw on the left. Also, if you spin jump past those piranha plants, like that's a really nice little time save. That is Seesaw Skip 1. Much easier to pull off. Here we grab a mushroom because we want to ground pound through these bricks because it's the fastest way through. You also want to damage abuse through that tower of piranha plants, because there's, a whole quote-unquote intended process to get them out of the way, but it takes a little too much time. So if we could just damage abuse past, that makes it so much quicker. And every time you do grab a power-up or lose a power-up, it does take half a second, but that is still much, much faster than doing it the intended way, because like you're meant to ground pound the other side of the seesaw, then, go all the way back up from the bottom. It's a whole process, but it is what it is. This level 12, is, I believe, the introduction to the nighttime theme. So in Mario Maker 2, there are a bunch of different nighttime themes, or different themes in it. And in Subworlds, and I believe it might apply in the overworld too. I have to kind of brush up on my Mario Maker 2 knowledge, I guess. But you can give a bunch of different themes that have different properties. So in the underground theme, you can see that it's essentially just an upside-down version of normal levels. All that really happens is the gravity is inverted. But yeah, I'm going to use this shell right here to grab a 30 coin that's not actually meant to be grabbed. At least we're pretty sure that Nintendo didn't intend us to grab it. But it's essentially a mirror version of the one I just picked up. Now, if you're on the seesaw and throw it at a very, very specific time, you can actually collect that 30 coin below, which you normally would not be able to if you were just normal Mario. That was actually a coin that was in the speedrun, but that level was rerouted a while ago at this point. I think it was still within the last year or so, where that last 30 coin we got was the only one we got, but recently, and I say recently just in terms of the speedrun as a whole, this was still like several months ago, but we actually did not get the one in the subworld. But just due to different changes we've made through the route, it makes more sense to get more coins in that level, so you don't have to worry about getting more later. So this level is the one I was talking about earlier, where you want to avoid getting grabbed by any of the claws. If you do get grabbed by a claw here, you actually do have to start the whole level over, because if you get to the finish line, it won't actually be there. It'll just be an outline that says, well, sorry, you can't finish because you got grabbed. So yeah, getting grabbed by a single claw here means run over, basically. Because you can lose a hefty amount of time if you get through most of the level, then get grabbed right at the very end. And obviously you want to collect plenty of coins along the way as well, so there's that to consider too. This is also one of the only levels in the run. It's not the only level, but it's one of the only levels where we don't actually talk to the worker toad to get it. There are plenty of levels like that throughout story mode. I forget how many exactly. I want to say it's less than 30. I know that much, but it's a little further out of the way. But it's actually worth it, because just for clearing that level the first time, you get 200 coins. That's actually another thing I should bring up. So every time you beat a level in this game, there are two different ways you can get coins. So there's the first clear bonus, which, the very first time you clear the level, you will guaranteed get X amount of coins. So for this level, for example, you'll get 150 coins for the first time you clear it. Anytime after that, you don't get that bonus, but even if you've played it already, you'll still get the amount of coins you collected in the level. But for the most part, in the speedrun, we don't want to repeat levels because we don't get the first clear bonus on repeat plays. So that is definitely something to consider when trying to route this game out. So here's, I believe, the first instance we see in the run of the Super Mario Bros. 3 Andon. Those 4 symbols will always show up in the same order, and they won't change rhythm or anything, so it's really easy to account for when you need to jump. We actually don't see that many of that Andon in this run, but your coin total can fluctuate quite a bit if you're just a little off with your timing, so it does pay off to practice. This level is another puzzle level, the Keymaster, where the only way to get to the end is to collect 4 different keys. There are a bunch of different rooms you can go into, so you can use a bunch of different strats if you want to, but the fastest way is to do the 3 rooms on the left here. We won't even bother to go over to the right. So we want to grab that P switch, use it to hit the invisible block up there to get the first key, and then we're going to use it in these next 2 rooms. So we're going to hit it on the room on the left, just to turn these blocks into coins, because that's the only way to get that key. Got to take a little detour to get some more coins. There are multiple ways to do this level. This is the more coin-oriented way. The speed-oriented way would just go through the pipe at that point and not even bother with the detour. But here, because the P-switch is still active, the conveyor belts are turned off when we come into this room. So it makes navigating it a little bit easier and a little bit faster. And here we've got a very smooth P-ump. If you can get that, it saves, I think, like half a second over just hitting the P-switch and then doing 2 jumps to get through the pipe. So yeah, it's a nice little time save if you can get it. If not, it's not that big a deal. I think you lose like the same amount of time you'd gain, so it's still worth going for, especially this early in the run. Coming up in this next level is where we see the first application of the dry bones shell. So dry bones, in case you weren't aware, did not actually exist in the original Super Mario Bros., but they made it work in Super Mario Maker 2 and its version of Super Mario Bros. 1, to where you could actually hop inside of one and use it to ride across lava, among other things. So it makes full use of that, pretty much. This level is very cycle-based, so it's hard to gain or lose time in huge amounts here. So the lava will just continually rise and fall, and you just have to plan your movement around that. Here we actually have one of the more recent coins added to the run. For a long time, we didn't even know that that subworld existed, but when we did and realized, oh hey, there's a 50 coin in there, it immediately got put into the run because it doesn't take that much time, and you get a lot of coins for it. Right here, I want to point out, so this fire you see at the end, total RNG. So because Bowser's at the end of the level, he will fire fire once you hit a certain point. And where it is and when it comes out is completely random. There we only got 1 flame, so that's not that bad, but like he can shoot, up to 2 or 3. And more often than not, it does hit Mario. It hit me there, which if you can avoid getting hit by it, that's half a second faster than if you do get hit by it. But obviously, if it takes too much time to get out of the way, you might as well just get hit, because, again, half a second is half a second, so it's not that big a deal. But it's still something that, if we can figure out how to control it, that'd be amazing. But as it stands right now, that's a little bit of RNG we kind of have to just deal with. Yeah, that's one nice thing about this whole run, is that there's not a lot of RNG we have to worry about. Like, it does appear in certain levels, and in some cases it's a lot worse than in others, but for the most part, this is a very consistent run. This level introduces the Twister, which is not my least favorite. aspect of Mario Maker 2. It's definitely annoying in some cases, but it's an alright item for the most part. There's only one level in any percent that really kind of grinds my gears involving the twisters. Uh, we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, for the most part, in the first, I think three game styles. So Super Mario Bros. 1, Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super Mario World. They're relatively easy to deal with. It's when you get into New Super Mario Bros. U that they become a little bit more of a hassle. So yeah, coming up is level 15, which is called No Jumping Allowed, and fittingly enough, we're not allowed to jump in this level. Kind of. So the way this game determines jumps is whenever Mario leaves the ground and then lands again. So you can jump just fine, technically, but if you ever hit the ground after you do so, the game will basically say, oh hey, you've jumped, now you can't finish the level and have to start over. So, and even though you can't jump at this level, it's a lot more interesting than you might think. So in that first room, for example, there were some claw cycles that I was trying to make. If you're fast enough, you can completely skip having to slow down at all, but if you get grabbed by the claws, then that does take Mario off the ground, so there is no way to finish the level at that point. Coming up in the next room as well, there's a trick called Flame Skip, where if you time it right, you can actually skip an entire cycle of fire that gets spits out of, I forget what the item's called, but yeah, these guys right here. Now, normally you're meant to wait on the left for the right ones to go, but you can see right there I barely got past before the flames appeared. If you get that, it saves 4 seconds, and if you miss it, then you have to start the entire level over since you're small Mario the entire time and at very high risk of death. But 4 seconds is actually really worth it. The trick isn't, super difficult or anything like that. You just have to time it right. But yeah, here you'll see what I mean when I say technically no jumping is allowed, but you can still jump and get away with it in certain circumstances. So right here, the flagpole's right there, so if you just jump and hit the bottom of it before you hit the ground, the game will let you finish, just because it didn't register you touched the ground, so it still says, oh yeah, no, you're still fine. So kind of weird how it considers a jump in this game, but I don't question it. Yeah, the next level is one of the chillest levels in the run. Actually, it's very consistent in terms of when you finish. It's an entirely underwater level, so it's kind of a good calm before the storm when it comes to the next level, because, oh boy, level 20 is a bit of a doozy. Yeah, for the most part, you can just get through this level by following the coins. Like, it's a very easy level to collect every single coin in, while still being optimal. Because there are very few coins that you actually have to go out of your way for. This 10 coin is one of them. If you time it right, you can grab it, like, just barely and not get blown up by that twister. Because if you do, it actually does lose you a couple seconds. Because it'll blow you up, it'll make you bonk on the ceiling. You'll need to lower yourself a bit more than you otherwise would to get through the next passageway. So it's a little risky to get in that regard, but even if you do lose 2 seconds, it's well worth getting that 10 coin. And this is by far the easiest flagpole to get the top of in the entire game, I swear. Yeah, the next level, level 20, is meant to showcase the Koopa Clown Car. And the way you're intended to go through the level is pretty much the entire time you're meant to be in the clown car, shooting down enemies, flying past gaps, etc. But because lowering yourself in the clown car is slower than just letting gravity do the work, whenever we have to go down long passageways, we will try not to use the clown car at all and just have Mario freefall. And that leads to some very interesting situations, as you'll see in this second room here. So right here, all you really want the clown car for is to break the wall to get to the next part of the level. After that, we just fall. We want to do a crouch jump there just to get through this section a little bit quicker. And then we just, bounce off of those enemies to get across. Those hammer bros can be a little bit annoying, but they're not that bad. Yeah, here again, you're kind of meant to ride that clown car down, but you don't have to. As long as you know where to move, that's all that really matters. You definitely do not want to lose the spiny helmet that Mario's wearing right here, though, because you'll see at the end, it's very, very detrimental if you lose it. It's like here, you want to break through the top, collect all those coins, and then get the top of this finish line. Obviously, if you don't have the spiny helmet, then there's no way through, since you can't blast it down with one of the Koopa Clown cars or anything like that. And I believe the most coins you can get from the engine is either 2 or 3. I think it's 3. But, I mean, either way, that's still significantly less than if you are able to go up top, so. Though, funny enough, there was a world record that did lose the spiny helmet. And was woefully behind on coins as a result, but we try to avoid that if we can. So these levels right here are required in order to beat story mode. So I guess I'll talk about why in a second, but this is Heavy Stone Heave Ho, which uses the stone block. This item is exclusive to story mode. I think it only appears in 5 levels in the story mode. I guess it could be 6, I just can only think of 5. Yeah, there's a little skip right here you can do where if you, I did miss it there, but if you throw that stone at the, that's not a question mark block, the musical note block, it will get enough height on its own so that you can have Mario jump, reach the ledge, turn around, and grab it so he doesn't have to bounce off the note block afterwards. It's a little finicky, but if you can get it, it saves like 1.5 seconds. So well worth going for. I think you still save time if you do miss it and jump off the note block right away. So still worth getting. But yeah, this level is Head in the Clouds. It is by far the fastest level in the entire game. And as a result, we will actually make good use of it later in the run. But I'll talk about that more when we get there. So yeah, basically what's happening in this part of the game is that the Toads don't have the parts they need to keep building the castle, so until you actually talk to them and beat their levels, you will not be able to finish building the castle. So this is a detour we absolutely have to make. There are very few required levels in this run. I think there are only 7 you are forced to play. Everything else we just do for efficiency's sake. Yeah, these 3 right here you do all at once, about 26 or so minutes into the run. This is another feature that's exclusive to the story mode where you have to escort Toads. We don't see that many levels with that aspect in the speedrun. We see a few, but not too many. And this one it has some really interesting movement at the end. So I guess one thing I should get into is that if Toad gets hit here by anything like any of the bullet bills, bonsai bills, or like any enemies at all, he'll actually hop into a bubble Yoshi's Island style. So right here, we do a very specific set of jumps in order to go over those bonsai bills, so we don't have to worry about getting hit by them, or just slowly waiting for them to pass by. But yeah, if we do lose the Toad, it's kind of a hassle to get him back because he'll start floating back to where you got him. So not generally something we want to worry about. Let's see here. Coming up, we are going to start building the East Hall, and this part of the castle building matters quite a bit because once we build the East Hall doors, we'll get access to the most important level in the entire run. And you will see why later. But yeah, this next level, level 21, is basically just a platform scroller. We see more of those than you might think in this run. So you've got your auto scrollers, which we don't have that many of. I'm pretty sure we only have maybe 1 or 2 of those in any percent. I think we have 2 of them. But other cases are platform scrollers, which are kind of like auto scrollers, but as you can see here, it's not the screen that's scrolling, it's the environment around you. So here it's really easy to skip because there's a question mark block just in the middle of the sky there. So once we can jump onto it safely, it's worth just doing that and hopping across. As you can see, we skip a lot of coins in the process, but it's way too slow to try to get all of them. You can get that 10 coin with a very precise jump, but when I say precise, I mean very precise. Because most of the time, if you grab it, you won't make it to the edge, and you'll just fall off and have to start the level over, which is definitely not worth it at that point. Master of the Trees here is probably one of my favorites to run in any percent, just because the movement looks so nice. Sorry about that. So yeah, right there we can bounce off of that bully to get straight to the top after we grab that 10 coin. Here we actually get a little bit of a speed boost from that guy. It gives you more horizontal speed than you would otherwise have if you just tried to build it up manually. There we had a little bit of hiccup with movement, but that's partially because of the bully RNG. This is another slightly RNG-based level, but it's nothing, too terrible. Yeah, the top of the flagpole here, there you're meant to hit after you bounce off of that last bully. But as is the case for a lot of levels in this run, we will generally get the top of the flagpole in unintended ways. There was a fun level that used to be in the any percent run called Shoe Stopper, where the intended way is to jump off of 2 piranha plants while in a shoe and use that to hit the top of the flagpole. But what we realized you could do instead was just like do 1 jump while in a shoe, jump out of the shoe, and then hit the top of the flagpole that way. Sadly, we do not run that in any percent anymore, which is kind of unfortunate, but the route we have now is faster, so can't complain too much. So yeah, talking about auto scrollers, this is one of, I believe, 2 we have in the run. So not much you can do here to save time. Though right here, like when I slide there, I do actually time in order to save as much time as possible. So you want to get in that teleportation block as soon as it comes on screen if you can. And if you time your slide at that piranha plant at just the right time and keep good movement from there, you can get into it basically as fast as possible. So that's like the one strategy you can do in this level to save time. Other than that, it's just wait for the level to catch up. Level 39 is pretty cool because it's a level where we actually do use the Koopa Clown car for more than just breaking walls. You take it basically all the way from the start to the very end of the level. And we do try to collect all the coins we can in this level because none of them are really far out of the way. Some of them do lose time to get, but we're talking like fractions of a second most of the time. So they're definitely worth it. At the very end of this level is a Bowser fight, where if you're optimal, you can shoot 5 sets of fireballs at full charge. So when you're Fire Mario, you can actually shoot 3 fireballs at once. If you get hit at all here, you're limited to only 1 fireball at a time, and that is much, much slower for the fight. Here I do get it in 5 shots, which is nice. If you get it in 6, it's not a big deal. But you definitely want to have the Fire Flower when you get to that point. Otherwise, it's way too slow to try to beat Bowser. So I mentioned that we wanted to build the east doors as soon as possible because it does have the most important level in the run, and that would be level 56, which we call Buzzy. Now, I did mention before that because of the first clear bonus, we try not to play levels more than once in the run, because without the clear bonus, or the first clear bonus, you don't get nearly as many coins as you would otherwise, and since the only way to build the castle and finish building the castle is to get a bunch of coins, you definitely want to speed up the process of getting coins as much as possible. But it turns out that this level nets you so many coins normally, even without the first clear bonus, that it is well worth it to do multiple times. So you'll see what I mean here. So the whole point is to throw buzzy shells up at these coin clusters. And since it is a platform scroller, it's really hard to lose more than like a second in this level. So it's pretty easy to judge how many coins you'll get per second. And it is just so fast that it's worth doing this level multiple times. We started to realize when we could do this on day 3, when I believe the first run that made use of this strategy played Buzzy, I want to say 20 times. And for reference, we only play it here 5 times because we know exactly how many coins we need. And, for 5 plays, it takes about 7 minutes from start to finish. So, in a run that's over an hour and a half long, that's not too bad. This is definitely the coin grind part of the run, but it doesn't drag on for too long. But for reference, so this is about 7 minutes for 5 levels. Back on the first run that used Buzzy multiple times, since he played it 20 times, I believe, that's about half an hour of just Buzzy. And even then, when we played it wasn't too optimal either, because at that point in the speedrun, we basically would just play it whenever we were in need of coins to build the next part of the castle. Whereas here, because we know exactly how many times we need to play it for efficiency's sake, we just get them all out of the way at once. Because it also saves a bunch of time, menuing, to and from other levels. Whereas here, if we get them all out of the way now, we don't need to replay it later. So saves a good chunk of time in menuing as well, which is a very, very underappreciated part of where some of your time save can come from. So ideally here, you get over 200 coins with every single time you play Buzzy. I can pretty easily get at least 203 or 204 coins whenever I play it at the end here. So you see here I get 206 with the top of the finish line. I believe the best I've ever done in a run is 209. Those are very, very few and far between, though. I want to say the most that anyone has ever gotten in that level is 212 by Sheepley's Day. And he's actually done a lot of work into trying to find the most efficient way to get coins in terms of when to throw the shells, etc. But obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but in order to get the absolute most amount of coins, you need to do some pretty insane shell throws. It's like this first cluster, in fact, the most efficient way to do it is to throw the shell, pick it up, and then throw it back while you still are on this whole chain of buzzy shells. But it's a lot trickier than it sounds, and it already sounds pretty tricky. One thing I do want to point out that at the end you might have noticed that there's a 50 coin I tried to get with a shell throw. And you can see that there are a bunch of POW blocks blocking the 50 coins, so you have a very narrow window to actually hit it. If you do hit any of those POW blocks, that's pretty disastrous, or at least can be, because what happens is, because all of the shells you ride across the spikes are on the ground, they will all get destroyed. So when Mario lands, he'll hit the spikes and lose his helmet. So you have a very small window to actually run to the end of the level and, not get hit by the spikes. But on top of that, you've got the giant spiny at the end, which can easily just fall down when you get there and kill you, which essentially means you have to start the entire level over, which, again, not great. But on top of that, you also basically prevent yourself from getting the 30 coin at the end as well, since you need the spiny for that. So you essentially lose out on at least 80 coins just from that mistake alone. But at the top level, you kind of need to hit all of those 50 coins and all of those 30 coins. I guess you can afford to lose 130 coin, but it's really, really hard to make up later in the run. That's a nice thing about this game, is that because there are so many coins you can grab, it's really easy to use strats that are comfortable for you. So even if they are a little slower, it doesn't matter too much. So if there's a strat you really want to avoid using to get a bunch of coins, you can obviously make that up elsewhere. And actually, that does kind of come into play at the very end of the run, where after you beat another force level, you'll need a certain amount of coins in order to actually start building the final part of the castle, the stained glass. And what level you play at that point basically just depends on how many coins you have. Most of the time we'll play level 22, because that's about how many coins we'll need most of the time. But yeah, this is the final time we see Buzzy in the run, so. Yeah, not that much more to say about it, honestly. It's a platform scroller. You just try to get as many coins as possible. Nothing too special. But after this, we will get into level 57, which is, I believe, only the second of 2 fully underwater levels. Yeah, I'll talk about it more when we get there. Yeah, right here you actually see a 208 Buzzy, which is actually kind of insane. Anytime you get a 207 or better in a run, that's a really good sign. But, usually as long as you can get at least 200, that's a pretty safe territory to be in. So yeah, level 57 here is another level where you want to just collect all the coins in the level. And this one actually is cycle-based. So in 3D world, there's a thing called blinking blocks, which are on a global cycle. So like every couple seconds, they'll switch from being on or off. And the first half of the level has a bunch of them. The second half only has them at the very, very end. So because of that, we can actually potentially finish the level a little bit quicker if we're fine with getting a few less coins. So right there, that's the majority of the cycle-based movement. Here, for the second half, as long as you're fast enough, it doesn't really matter. But you'll see a lot of these bloopers, and they can they can definitely mess your route up a little bit. But if you know when to shoot fireballs, they're pretty easy to take care of and keep out of your way. So at the very end, there will be a wall of blinking blocks that obstruct the finish line here. Now, if you're fast enough, like I was in this run, you can get 5 coins from the flagpole if you're fine losing out on the very top. But it does save a couple seconds. I think at best it can save about 3, maybe 3.5 seconds if you're fast enough. But you're only losing 5 coins by doing that, so the time save is worth it, in my opinion. you know, because the coin route isn't so strict that, you know, we can guarantee we'll get this many coins in this level, especially with how Buzzy can go. Because Buzzy is definitely probably the most variable level you'll see in the run in terms of how many coins you get from it. This level above the clouds is kind of cool. It uses the low gravity night theme. So if it looks like Mario's moving a lot floatier than usual, that's why. Let's see here. Here, this is a level where you can get the Fire Flower to make navigating through these piranha plants a bit easier. But again, A, it takes time to actually grab them in the first place since they're not right along the beaten path. And B, the power-up animation takes a little time to pass anyway. But if you do want to get it, you can... Well, actually, you can just get the mushroom and get that 10 coin on the left, but again, that takes a bit too much time to warrant getting the 10 coins. There you might have noticed that I paused, and that's mostly just so I could set up the finish line to be on a good cycle. Normally you want it to be at the very top there. I was slightly too low for that, so I only got 5 coins instead of 10, but that's a very minor issue to worry about. Coming into level, I believe 33 is the next one I play. Yeah. So this one is actually meant for speedrunning. You only have 30 seconds to beat the level, and the timer is not super generous. It's generous enough where if you you know, slow down a little bit here and there, you can still finish. But usually you'll end with like 5 seconds on the timer or something like that. So most of it is just getting through here. There is a spin jump I do after hitting this switch, which saves about a second, but it is a bit on the riskier side because it's entirely possible to just whiff and fall into the pit there. But you know, it's enough time save that it's worth doing. Yeah, the next level is yet another auto-scroller. Again, I think there are only 2 true auto-scrollers in the run, so for what it is, it's not bad. At the very least, it's really easy to tell how many coins you get per second. And the number of coins per second is basically how we judge putting each of these levels in the run. There are some levels in here which are really, really good for how many coins they give per second, but because of how late in the run they appear, it doesn't actually make sense to play them. But I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there in about 50 minutes or whatever. Yeah, this level, all you really have to do is avoid the poison mushroom. This is another nighttime theme, actually, where you can turn power-ups against you, I guess is the best way to put it. So here, there's the poison mushroom that will constantly follow Mario. It's pretty easy to manipulate where it goes, though, so pretty much whenever I play this level, I'll go for the same movement every single time. Just because it's consistent, it's safe. Yeah, if there was a normal mushroom in this level, what you'd see is that it would try to bounce away from Mario the entire time, making it really hard to get. We actually will see a level later in the run that does that. But here's, kind of just a nice introduction to how this night theme works. Now we go from a, really, kind of not too special auto-scroller to another one of my favorite levels to run in any percent, which is Blink Blink Blunk, level 30. This level is another cycle-based level. It uses the Blink Blink, what are they called? The Blink Blink blocks. We saw in level 57. But here they're on land, so we can use them for a bit more than what we saw in level 57. So the first room isn't anything, too special. It's mostly just run to the right and jump. Not much else than that. But in the second room, we get some really tight movement where we try to grab a 10 coin before the blocks switch. So yeah, with some precise wall jumps there, you can actually get the wall jump you need to hit the 10 coin before the blue blocks come into play. And here we've got a whole process. So here we want to hit that mushroom so we can collect it here. We don't need it, but it does make your hitbox a little more generous for grabbing the coins. Here we want this 50 coin, but if we mistime the wall jump, we will just fall to our death, and that's bad news bears. Here we want to do a kind of precise set of wall jumps there. Grab that 30 coin. That 30 coin is the whole reason I grabbed the mushroom, to be honest, because if you get hit by that ant trooper, then it's not the best. And if you're small Mario, you just die and then have to start that room over. But that is a 30 coin that's worth getting because it's right there. It's, you know, just a couple blocks away, so you might as well. I guess one minor thing about that is when I did go for that 30 coin, I went for the right side instead of the left. And that's just because it's very slightly faster to grab that way, even though it's not as easy to set up. But, you know, if we're going for world record, we can use all the time save we can get. This next level is probably one of the scariest in the entire run. This is, yeah, once it hit mid-game, this is like where all the really scary levels happen back to back to back. So level 43 with a lantern is entirely in the dark. So you really need to memorize the layout of this level to, you know, make use of it or make its full use in speedruns. So what I'm going to do here is a relatively new strat to 90%, where I'm going to wait for that P-switch to reach a certain point. Because there's a 30 coin you can get if you wait until it's much further along in the level. But if you hit it really early, you can barely make the P-switch cycle. Or you can get in that section right there and grab that 30 coin. You can see that the coins there like just turned into blocks as I grabbed it. You do not have much leniency at all to hit that. So it's very, very scary level. There I also damage abuse through that thwomp. That's also a relatively new strat. If you do it efficiently, it can save you about a second to a second and a half. Here I grab that 50 coin after I hit that POW block. And from there, it's basically home free. There's a lot of stuff I just couldn't get into with that level just because of how much there is. But yeah, it's a very, very scary level. Especially considering there are bottomless pits all over the place and you can't see most of them. So you pretty much have to go by feel a lot of the time. I'll be frank. I'll be frank. The next level in the run kind of sucks. It's a very quick level, and you do get a lot of coins from it. But the main issue that the main issue that I and a lot of other runners have with it is that it uses note blocks for the floor, and note blocks can be pretty stingy. But the whole point here is to just get 40 coins. There will always be 4 10 coins at the very top of the level in this next room, so you know you can at the very least guarantee you get it. But there's also a cannon on the left that will shoot out 30 coins throughout the course of the level, so you can also use those to hit that margin. And you know, of course, you want them anyway because you know the more coins you get, the faster it is to build the castle. In that case, that went pretty well, but it's so easy for that level to just get completely chaotic. Because even with the setup, if you mess up just one jump, even a little bit, it can offset everything. But in general, you just want to grab 3 or 4 of those 10 coins. You know, what I opt for usually depends on my coin pace at that point, but in that case, that was a pretty fast 4 coin grab. Level 45, Lava Horizon, is the Bob Ross level. If you've seen any of my speedruns that get to this point, you will know why. But the whole point of this level, in case you couldn't guess by the name, was that the lava in this room continuously rises. So it's essentially just a race to get to the end of the room before it hits Mario. But since we speedrun, it's never going to get to that point. Like, I think we've already seen the last of it in this room, to be honest. So we do want to grab that 30 coin just because it's fast. Here, if you are skilled with movement, you can bounce off of that cannonball to get across that gap just a little bit quicker. And in this room, this has a very, very intricate setup where as soon as we come out of that pipe, we want to we want to hit a very specific lava cycle. So like right here, I am going to make one of these donut blocks fall at a very precise time. So I do a spin jump there to buffer it. Land on that moving skull platform as lava's going up at a specific time. Right there, that was a 50 coin that Mario just hit with his toe. Normally, you're not meant to get it on that lava cycle. Like, normally you're meant to wait another 6 seconds to get it the intended way, which is a lot safer. But thanks to two other runners by the names of Sheeply and Val, they found a setup to where you can actually barely hit that 50 coin while saving 6 seconds in the process. And it looks pretty scary, mostly because it is. But if you get the setup right, it's actually not that bad, but it does still look impressive. Oh gosh, so Impassable Castle. There is a lot that goes into this level. So first off, right here you want to go past that thwomp, have that thwomp destroy that chain jump and get past before it goes back to the left. Collect that shellmet so you can bounce that thwomp upwards, take care of that chain jump. Use the iframes to get through and go back before it goes back to the left. You want to hit him up there, and you want to wait until a very specific time to lure the thwomp over so he actually can destroy this chain jump. You want to duck underneath so you maintain the shellmet. Go down here, and you don't want to forget to jump over that gap there, because otherwise that top thwomp will come and get rid of that shellmet. Over here, you want to make sure that thwomp hits the power block. You want to ideally get a corner boost there, which I did not get in this run. And then once you get to this point of the level, it's pretty much home free. You lose the shellmet there, but it's fine because you get this 10 coin, and you can just damage abuse through this thwomp here and get to the end of the level. A 251 there is very close to perfect. 252 is the best time I have seen using these strats. There are slightly faster strats you can do than that level that involve doing a shell jump to get the 10 coin with the power block instead of just actually making the thwomp hit the power block, but I personally don't do that because I am absolutely terrible when it comes to shell jumps. So I've never been able to land it once, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, if you do get it, it saves, I think, about 2 seconds. So, you know, it's not the biggest time loss if you don't go for it. But either way, that level still looks impressive regardless. This is another really quick level in the run, where if you blink, you'll miss it. So here, all you need to do is defeat all the dry bones. It's really easy. You just really want to make sure you don't get hit when you have the Tanuki leaf. Yeah, just because if you have to go all the way back to the start, and since the lava is rising, your movement is pretty limited. So you can really only gain or lose time in certain, like, specific intervals in that level. You're also on a very strict time limit, so not the best if you have to wait to go back over to the left to get the leaf. Blinking Block Blitz, again, uses Blinking Blocks. In this case, there's a lot more waiting in this level. You know, A, because we need to wait to get through that pipe, since there's no floor at the start. B, for another reason. So like here, we're actually going to grab the cat suit, and we're going to go back to the first room. Now, this is not something that we realized was in this level until after about a month of playing this game, but there's a 50 coin like hidden in this room right up there that you can very easily get with the cat suit. And because it doesn't take that much time to get, it's well worth getting. It's kind of like the 50 coin we saw in level 13, except that one was found much, much later into this game's lifespan. So basically from here, it's just trying to get as many coins as we can while we're waiting for the blocks to shift. Here, there's a whole section up to the left with, yeah, you can see it here with a bunch of coins that are really easy to get. You can finish the level just a little bit sooner than that, but because of all the coins we get up there, you might as well just grab them. And then at the end is smooth sailing. Coming up is level 50, and this is the one I was talking about earlier that has a poison mushroom, or actually multiple poison mushrooms that will try to kill Mario. And there are two main strats you can do in this level. There are the safe strats, where you actually grab a mushroom for safety, and then there are the fast strats, where you do the whole thing as Small Mario. Small strats aren't that bad, and honestly, like both strats are pretty similar for the most part. But again, at world record level, you kind of want to do fast strats if you can. So right here, you can set up a triple jump by running off and hitting that first dry bones. Then here, you just kind of want to, get past these donut blocks. You do want to hesitate right before these munchers, but besides that, there's no real waiting in this level. You want to go, you want to keep running to the right as much as you possibly can. You also really want to remember to do a spin at the very end of that last jump. Otherwise, that poison mushroom at the end will hit you, and you will have to start the level from scratch. And that has happened to runners quite a bit. Yeah. This level, Koopa Clown card, whatever. Koopa Clown card coin collecting. Try saying that 5 times fast. Another one that's... this one is really hard casually. Like, I remember it took me quite a few times to do, but in the speedrun, it's a bit more consistent. So what you want to do is like lure that Goomba, basically just hijack his ride. You notice that there at the start was a bullet bill launcher in, yeah, you can kind of see it there, in a clown car. We try to Brit it off screen as quickly as possible so it stops following us, because if the clown car isn't on screen, then it kind of sort of despawns, but it just won't follow Mario anymore. And if that bullet bill launcher tries to follow you around through the whole level, it is a pain in the butt. Because it's a large column that basically stops you from moving past it, so you have to go either above or below it. But if it is constantly trying to track Mario, it's really hard to do that. So the sooner you can get it off screen, the better. Get over it is... Oh, actually, I lied. This is the third, and I believe this is the final auto-scroller in the run. This one's actually pretty cool, though, because I think it's the only one that scrolls downward in story mode. So it makes it a little bit more interesting. This level is basically all about timing your wall jumps. Here's a case where you can grab a mushroom for safety. I just don't, because it takes half a second for the animation to play. Plus, the only thing you really need to worry about is the saws. If you hit the poison below, then you instantly die anyway, even if you do have the mushroom. So, not exactly worth it. And if you know where the saws are, if you know where the saws are, it's really easy to avoid them. Obviously, if you're going through this level blind, then yeah, it would definitely help to have the mushroom, but not a big deal. Here, I do try to hit that snake block as soon as possible, and that's just because as it goes down, the snake block goes just a little bit slower than the screen scroll. So you'll see as we go through the rest of this level that the top of the snake block will creep slower, or like little by little, towards the top of the screen. And if it gets too high and Mario lands on it, then that triggers a kill plane, and you have to start the whole level over. And since you want to get all the coins you can in this level, you want to go over the top as much as you reasonably can. So yeah, just making sure there's enough space below the kill plane is really the only thing you need to worry about in that level in terms of, quality of life strategies. I mean, obviously it's an auto-scroller, so you can't really speed it up much. But that's the only real big strat you have to worry about. Koopa Troopa Car Go is one of only 2 levels in any percent that use the car, which is exclusive to the 3D World style. And the car actually has decently fast movement, I guess. It is faster than Mario's top run speed, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes, it is faster, but you're much more limited in movement options. Basically, here, all you need to worry about is trying to jump up slopes as much as possible, just to save little bits of time at once. Then here you get a 50 coin that like is easier to get than it may come off as long as you turn around after getting hit by the springs at the right time. Pretty easy to get. And then here at the end, I'll actually try to do a specific jump, so I jump over this giant bully, or at least bop him. And that saves a little bit of time because you don't ride down that last slope. Because when you're in the car, like the fastest way to go, or I believe the fastest at least, is just on flat ground. If you have a steep slope, then it's just easier to jump over it. And here we're actually going to see another kind of level that we don't talk to Worker Toad with. And these are the Yamamura levels. Now, these are the two most well, I guess this is one of the two most frequently, most recently added levels to the run. We did not ever used to do these just because of how long it takes to get to Yamamura and talk to him. And also, this level, Airship Flight, is one of the longest in any percent. I think it might be the second longest, to be honest. But this is another no-jump level. And the whole point is to take the cape with you and avoid hitting the ground with that. But since there's so much free fall in here, you don't want to glide too much because, you know, that's slow. So you really, really, really want to make sure you're familiar with the level layout here. Because, again, if you hit the ground once, then you have to hit the whole level over. Or, yeah, you have to play the whole level over. So yeah, this is about the halfway point through the level. We will begin a Koopa Clown car later, and we actually will try to ride that one down while we can. Otherwise, there's no way to beat the level. Yes, right here I take that part a little bit safer just because of how narrow the passageways are. And once you get to this point, you absolutely want to avoid hitting those spikes if you can, because if you hit them while in the clown car, then the clown car will kind of just like bounce around on its own, and you have no control over it. So it's really easy to just get set back. But in this case, the level went relatively okay. I had a little bit of bonking at the end, but again, nothing too major. And then there, it's totally worth it just to get all of the coins in the upper left there, because you have plenty of time before the cloud disappears. So you might as well. Let's see what's next here. So yeah, after all those levels, again, that being probably the hardest stretch in the speedrun, we finally get to start building more of the castle. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the next level, 69, is the Road to Wall Jump Mastery. You know, as the name implies, this is solely focused on wall jumps. This is a very interesting level to route out because a lot of the optimizations come from scrolling the screen at specific intervals. So at the start here, you'll actually see me wait to scroll the screen up as much as possible because there's a shell launcher right there that you want to spawn that shell once you're already in between the flipping wall and the wall on the right. And that's just to get that 10 coin. Shout outs to Tushi for that strat. And then here you want to avoid having that bottom bullet bill launcher fire one too soon, because otherwise you get hit here, and that's not quite ideal. I take the mushroom there just because it, you know, it's a nice safety net, because the bonsai bills at the end can definitely hit Mario without too much difficulty. And sometimes it is actually worth it just to damage abuse past them. So it all depends on like how well or how poorly you scroll the screen. Yeah, you do definitely want to scroll it in very specific ways. One aspect I guess I could talk about is that when we finished building parts of the castle too, you probably noticed that all the toads have a little celebration animation. And we want to overlap those as much as possible. So like whenever we can finish multiple parts of the castle at once, we want to be able to do that because that animation takes quite a few seconds to pass. So anytime we can, take celebrations out of the run, we will try to do that. Minor time saves that, are kind of hard to tell are there. They're more behind the scenes stuff than anything else, but if you do start running this game, you will notice that all the celebrations can add up. That was Freeze and Rain. That is a very quick level that yields a lot of coins, so definitely worth doing in any percent, no matter what your skill level is. So yeah, right here, I'll start building the east roof. That requires 4 levels in order to finish. We started building the main hall roof, or main hall 3rd floor, I forget which. The one before that, and since that takes 5, those 2 will finish at the same time. And we'll only get 1 Toad Celebration animation for those 2, so kind of going into what I was talking about earlier. This is Shoes of the Clouds. This is the one level in the run where we actually get to use the Super Mario Bros. 3 shoe. I don't know. I personally really love this level. I used to, in an old route, save this for like the very end of the run because there are a bunch of different strats you can do depending on how many coins you need. In this case, I think I skip a 30 coin at the end. I don't quite remember, to be honest, but yeah, here you basically just want to carry it through as much of the level as possible. Yeah, I guess we'll find out together here what strats I went for. Yeah, that 30 coin at the top left there. Okay, I don't go for it. So yeah, one thing you can do if you're more focused on speed, you can damage abuse through that tower. And since you lose the shoe, and the shoe isn't technically a power-up, you don't actually have a half-second animation for losing it, like it did with the chain chomps at the end there. So you can easily afford to lose it without losing any time. Assuming you're actually focused on time and not coins for that level. If you're behind on coins, you can get the 30 coin. That was at the start of that last room. But most of the time you don't need to. Blooper Barrage here is an interesting level in that it is very, very RNG dependent, arguably the most RNG dependent level in the run. And that's just because these bloopers can move left or right pretty much however they want. Here I got kind of good luck because the 2 on top went together, so I was able to bop them both at once. Yeah, here, if you get really, really, really good RNG, you can end at 284 on the timer. Here I end at 281, which is, still good. Still good. Like, 281 is about what you want to aim for, because you still want to hit the top of the finish line. And it only hits the top at 284 and 281. And then it keeps going, but like those are the 2 fastest times you want to hit it. So only about a 3-second difference there. Not the end of the world if you get the 281, but yeah, usually you only get 284 if you're really, really lucky. So this level 76 is kind of like Buzzy, except we don't play it 5 times in the run. It's kind of like a diet version, where instead of using shells, we use bob-ombs, and we don't actually have to wait for a platform to scroll. So yeah, what you want to do here is like slightly angle your throws so that you get entire columns of coins. If you throw them straight up, you're not really making full use of the potential of the throws. But yeah, if you move slightly to the side while throwing them up, that's the best way to go about it, since you'll get the most coins that way. So yes, I collect 88 coins here, which is a really good total. Like, you want at least 87 for, like a really, really good run there. The best I've ever gotten in a run is 92. But you have to be like really, 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 really not precise, but like it takes really good throws in order to hit 92 or anything above 90, honestly. Stone of Destiny is probably the longest puzzle level we see in the run, casually. But thanks to a couple skips, it's very... it's not that bad. So like here you're meant to use a stone to essentially block these bullet bills from coming out, but if you're fast enough, you can just skip that step entirely. All these rooms you're meant to bring the stone into to solve them, but you can skip 2 of the rooms with the stone by using alternate strategies. I still bring the stone into 3 of the rooms just because the other one you can skip is a little bit safer with the stone. Yeah, this room is like fairly hands-off for the most part. You know, you just let the stone grab the claw, hop on the stone, and then basically wait until you can reach the key. Yeah, so in this last room, so you can see that the wall on the left is made of breakable blocks. For the longest time, none of us knew that that room existed with a 30 coin. Until, I believe it was Big John found it by complete mistake. And once we realized that was there, we immediately added it to the run, and it is a very nice time save. Definitely worth doing. Because it's not even that hard to get, we just didn't realize it was there, so... one thing I guess I should point out with the stone levels is that you notice me facing to the left when I finish those levels. And that's mostly just so the stone doesn't block Mario's path after he, runs off to the right. Because what happens is if Mario tries to, leave the level with a stone in his way, or anything in his way, really, the animation afterwards actually makes the level fade out later than if he's able to run off the stage. So even though, you're not playing the game anymore, it still takes longer for that to happen. So minor thing to watch out for. This is another required level in the run, Toad Rescue. Pretty easy. Because it's in low gravity and in the new Super Mario Bros. U game style, it's, yeah, you can just spin basically across the whole level. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's a fairly easy level. Not much to talk about here. Yeah, normally you don't lose the toad at all. That wasn't faster in any way. That was just like a genuine slip up. But let's see here. Yeah, so coming into this next part, we actually see the second Yamamura level. So throughout the story mode, Yamamura will have 3 levels. And for each one, he's actually hiding in a different part of the map. So to get the second level, you actually need to go through these doors at the top, and it'll pop out the bottom. And the first level, because it's so long, even though it does give a lot of coins, by itself would not be worth it. But because playing that level actually lets us play the second level, that's what puts it over the top and actually made it worth adding to the run. So this is another level where we need to collect all the coins. And these levels are really nice, like when you need to collect all the coins as a clear condition, because, again, it makes it really easy to determine how many coins you will be getting at the end. Because literally the only variability you'll get is where you hit the flagpole. But in this level specifically, you should always hit the 5 finish. Here, the first part is pretty simple because you just need to make that flame cycle so you don't lose the mushroom. And then the second half is also pretty straightforward. So you won't usually lose more than like maybe a second in this level. You know, unless you screw up in the second half, in which case, yeah, it definitely could happen. Let's see here. The next level, level 80. So I mentioned, you know, way further back in this run that the twisters can be pretty finicky in the new Super Mario Bros. U style, and this is the level that I dread because of that. So this is another platform scroller, um, and really early on in the level, there is a 30 coin that you need to get blown up by a twister in order to reach. But because the physics are a little jank with twisters in this game style, it's it's not super easy to get. At the very least, it's not super easy to get without getting hit, because there's a module that comes out of the block that the twister's on. Luckily, I didn't hit it there, but yeah, it if you're not careful, you can definitely lose the mushroom there, or you can just like fall off completely, depending. Um, yeah, a lot of bad stuff can happen at that specific point in the map. Um, so the whole point of this level is to teach you how to use on-off switches, and like the game kind of wants you to hit them every single time you get the chance. But if you avoid hitting that last one, you can actually go underneath that platform and get the 50 coin. Um, so yeah, pretty easy one to get. And then from here, we just kind of write it out, get the 30 coin below here, because that's more coins than if we hit the top of the flagpole. So worth getting that one too, because 30 is more than 10, believe it or not. Um, yeah, so this is the point in the run where you can like really judge what coin pace you should be on. In this case, I have 251 coins. Generally speaking, you want about 228, so I'm pretty well ahead of coin pace here. This next level of Boom Boom Rager your strats for it will probably fluctuate depending on how many coins you need. But here, this is a really interesting level to route out because of the wind cycles. So the nighttime theme for the desert levels will introduce wind cycles, and depending on what game style you use for them, how they work is gonna change. So in this case, like every couple of seconds, the wind will change from on to off, always blowing to the left. I'm sorry, it'll switch from no, it'll always blow to the left. Sorry, mix up my styles there. But yeah, so like because of a little movement mishap at the very start of this level, I actually was on a different wind cycle here than what I'm used to. But I was able to improvise pretty efficiently. Here you want to grab this 30 coin. That's another one that wasn't in the run for a long time just because we didn't know it existed. But it's become kind of a staple ever since. We call it the Sheepley coin, named after Sheepley's Day, the runner who discovered it. So yeah, you can choose to get it. You can choose to skip it. There are a couple of different strats for that level. I did the more coin-oriented strats, whereas there are slightly faster strats. Bonsai Chase Scene is another really cool level casually, and it also like kind of stands out in the speedrun too, since it is more or less a speedrun based level. So the whole point of this level is just to outrun those bonsai bills before they reach Mario. But we actually, at the very end of this room, want to wait for them anyway, because there is a 50 coin we can only get by jumping off of one of them. So you don't need to rush too much through this part of the level. You just want to be fast enough that they don't catch up. And then you want to avoid hitting this very last on-off switch, because otherwise that Spiny won't get shot out of the cannon and it won't destroy that bonsai bill, and then we don't get to get that 50 coin. So definitely something you need to remember when running this game. Then in this last room, yeah, that 30 coin is actually harder to get than the 50 coin, weirdly enough, but yeah, it's still like relatively easy to get as long as your movement's somewhat clean. Heading into level 62. This one is a 3D World style level, which makes use of bounce and mushroom blocks, which give you a lot of height. They're essentially note blocks, but better. Because you don't need to time your input to get a max height jump. You just need to hold down the jump button, while you hit it. And in this one, we're going to be doing that an awful lot because if you fall into the water, that is pretty dang slow. There are also these Porcupuffers throughout the level, which if they eat Mario, it doesn't matter what power-up he has, he will die. Unless he has the star, which we'll get shortly here. Yeah, I want to get through this secret room. And you can see here, because he has the star, like, these guys can't do anything to hurt him. Sadly, we cannot really collect all these coins and bring the star to the next room, which kind of sucks because it would be really useful for the end here. But like at the very end, there is another 30 coin we can get if we absolutely need it. You can see it below there, but since we're on pretty dang good coin... Oh, no, I do get it. Okay. I can't remember if I got it in this run or not, but yeah, there's a very specific setup you can go for that I nailed here that avoids getting eaten by that Porcupuffer. You do damage abuse twice, but it's 100% worth it. Because again, like even if you're, fully powered Fire Flower Mario, if that thing eats you, that's game over. So with a very specific setup, you can get through them just fine. But if you want to avoid getting that 30 coin, like, a lot of the time you won't need to get it anyway. I believe in this case, I just wanted to get it for safety, for my coin total. And then in this level, I bypassed a lot more coins than I otherwise would. So at the start of that level, you want to start the snake block as soon as possible. And then I go back to get the mushroom just because that's also kind of fast. Here you want to go for a triple jump to bypass, waiting for that snake block to come all the way across here. And you don't even need to damage abuse to do it. Here you can damage abuse to save a bit of time so you don't wait for that last snake block. Yeah, this level has quite a few little skips here. You want to hit that top snake block, the really short one, as soon as possible because there's another skip you can do here where you get a double jump off of it to just go to the top of the map, damage abuse, and then again just have to and then just skip having to wait for the lower snake blocks to get you across safely. This part right here is like, it can be scary if you're not super familiar with Wiggler movement, but for the most part, it's not that bad. Here I wait to jump off until the snake block hits a very certain point, because if you go too early, you could just fall off or get squished between the wall and the snake block. And if you go too late, you just waste time, so little cues here and there you can look for efficiency's sake. And then this next level, level 66, is a level that almost makes me think that Nintendo knew that people were going to try to speedrun the story mode. Because there's a little bit at the end that is set up just perfectly enough for speedrunning. So this level is, another platform scroller. We have to ride these fuzzies across because the bottom of the map is basically this one giant bottomless pit. There is a little bit of floor here and there, but most of it is being taken by these flame spitters. So it's not exactly the safest place to be most of the time. So for the most part, we just want to adjust our height on this parabeetle, collect the coins while we can. And after we collect this 10 coin, that's when we will actually just skip this entire slow process and go straight to the end of the level. So these two Goombas are perfectly spaced so that you can jump off of one, then into the other, and then just hit the flagpole. And just because of their placement, like, that's what makes me think that Nintendo kind of knew that people would try to speedrun this, and they just threw them there to be like, hey, if you want to skip, the last half of wait-in for the parabeetles, you can do that. So it's just really nice that they're there. That can actually be a very very scary level at the end of the run, because like it's not that hard to just miss the first Goomba completely and fall into the pit below. But so Operation Total Eclipse here. This is a very intense level because there is a 6-second time save you can get if you have very, very, very clean movement through this first part of this room. So the whole point here is to collect all 5 toads and escort them to the end of the level. 4 of them have their own chambers here, so you've got the lower right one, which you just got, the upper right, which we're getting now, and then the 2 on the left. So there is an objectively fastest way to go about this. So like right here, for example, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to like jump up and wall jump as soon as possible just to get the additional speed necessary to get over here. And when I say the movement is tight, I mean it is extremely tight. And that's because there are flame cycles on the upper left area that start as soon as you enter this room. And if you can get there fast enough, you can actually get all the toads through before any of them even get hit by the flames. And if you can do that, then you can also save another flame cycle later in the level. And altogether that saves 6 seconds, just based on how the cycles work. If you're slightly too slow because you have the toads behind you, one of them can get hit and bubbled up. And how they move when they do get bubbled up is actually a little bit random. So like there's a chance even if one of them does get hit, you can save them and recover it. But if you do miss it, then you have to go all the way back through the section you need to go through to collect that toad. And that'll just waste a bunch of time. But if you can get it just right, you can save 6 seconds like I did there. And, 6 seconds is a pretty hefty amount of time. So being able to do that is quite nice. So here you can see in the upper left that I have 1889 in terms of my coin count. Based on what that number is, that will affect what level you play next, because the very last part of the castle costs 2,000 coins. So here I play level 22 because that nets you up to 143 coins pretty safely. And since we only need 111, this is just a very good choice. So here we get to see Yoshi for the second and final time in the run. For the most part, it's just a run right level for the first bit. And as you can see, we've already collected 36 coins, so on top of the 100 we get for clearing the level for the first time, that's more than enough. But yeah, I just kind of want to drop Yoshi there, get to the top of the level, and hit the finish line, because that's faster than trying to swim through the water. And a lot safer than trying to bounce off the Cheep Cheeps, because that is a very hard strat you can go for, but I would not recommend, especially this late into the run. But you do you, I guess. And then finally here, because we have enough coins, we can start building the stained glass. And since that's the last purchase we need to make, all we have to worry about is making sure all those hammers appear. And in doing so, since we don't need to worry about coins, we can just play the fastest level we have access to, which, if you remember me saying it earlier, is Head in the Clouds, which is the green toad level. So we'll just play this level 4 times, just because of how quick it is. Like the world record for this individual level is 3 seconds. We do not go for those strats because they are extremely difficult. Instead, we go for a slower, safer version. But it's still really, really fast. So definitely worth doing. And then we just played 4 times. You can see that there are 5 hammers, and the main reason being that there is a final level in the run. And that's mostly just because the game wants to make sure that you end on a high note. Because it'd be a little boring if, the way to beat this game was just hey, beat this level for a 6th time. Like, no, they try to give it a little more of a cinematic feel than that. But for this part of the run, yeah, all we do is play Head in the Clouds over and over. It's, again, a pretty chill part of the run. which you kind of need before the last level because the last level is pretty intense. I say it's chill, but it is definitely possible to hit one of the spikes in the level and have to redo Head in the Clouds, and that can lose you a good amount of time. Yeah, you also see me going for the the second gap in the spikes just because it's the safest. Objectively speaking, the very top of the flagpole would be a faster way to go, but because of how precise it is, it's not really worth the risk. I mean, that's not to say you can't go for it, but it's just not exactly recommended. But yeah, so at this point in the run, the last level takes about 2 minutes to finish once you first start it. So you can kind of look at your timer here and gauge, how possible is a PB, how much time can I reasonably afford to lose. So I remember at this point in the run, I just was not looking at my timer because I knew that I was on really good pace. I just didn't want the pressure of knowing how good it was. But yeah, so to get into this level, Meowser Showdown, last level in the run. This is another very RNG heavy level. Particularly at the start, there are going to be a couple of Flame Bros that you want to avoid if you can. Ideally, you bounce off of them or just jump over them completely. But yeah, if they're on a bad movement pattern, then it's really hard to maneuver around them. But in this case, I managed pretty easily. It is possible for one of them to hit you with their fireball, and you get to jump on them. Just a weird way hitboxes work. Yeah, here's Meowser. If you're lucky, you can jump over him here. I did not get that fortunate, unfortunately. Yeah, that can save you a little bit of time by not getting hit. So I guess I should get into the very final part of this level, where at the end of the next room, there is a fight with Meowser, where, much like in Super Mario 3D World, you're meant to hit him with 4 PAL blocks. Now, unfortunately for us, he can randomly go in the background of the stage and fire fireballs at the foreground, but while he's in the background, we can't actually hit him. So that part is kind of RNG, and plagued any percent runs for a long time because every time he does it, it takes several seconds for him to have a chance to come back into the foreground where we can hit him, but it's not guaranteed. But thanks to an individual level runner by the name of Qwerty, he actually found a setup that relatively consistently brings Meowser back to the foreground. It's got a really high success rate. So if you stay in this corner right below the gated platform, so right below where the PAL block is, that will almost guaranteed make sure that Meowser stays in the foreground where we can hit him. So yeah, very useful. Takes out a lot of the RNG. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it is, it helps. It notably helps. So coming into the very final room here, if you have the cat suit, you can climb the wall to reach the flagpole. Otherwise, you can just do a spin jump to hit the flagpole there. And because we don't need to worry about coins anymore, we just need to grab the flagpole, and that's the end of the run. But yeah, that is essentially my post commentary for Mario Maker 2 any percent. First ever 138. So. Yeah, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I'd been wanting to do a post-commentary video on Mario Maker 2 for quite a while now, but I also wanted to wait until I had a run that I was satisfied with before I did that. And this run got basically everything I could reasonably ask for at the time I got it, for the strats I used at the time as well. And I'm still really proud of it now. Obviously, I don't expect this run to last forever or anything, but as it stands, I think waiting until this run was a good choice regarding when to do post-commentary. So, yeah, really glad I did this. Hope you enjoyed. I know I started to lose my voice halfway through there, but we powered through. But yeah, that's about all I had. So again, thanks for watching. Hope this was insightful, and until next time, take it easy and peace out.